Hi everyone, welcome back to today's video. For today, I'm going to be showing you guys this sweet little project using the new cookie cutter Christmas set from the new holiday catalog. Now I know it's a little early to start thinking about holiday Christmassy stuff, but reality is it really is right around the corner, and to be completely honest, I really wanted to play with this set. That's what it is. So I wanted to make a card for you guys. I did also have a request to do a card using this set. So I wanted to go ahead and get that done for you guys and show you guys what I came up with. So I know there's a ton of people doing a ton of different stuff with this set, and this is what I kind of came up with as a sweet little gift. So we're going to be or a sweet little card. So we're going to make this one. It's super cute and simple. I also love it because it's very... oh, how do I want to say this? I love the color palette. Ooh, sorry guys. I always forget to put my phone on silent. This color palette is all me. This is my Christmas color palette, and I really tried to keep it to just the white, red, and the brown, the crumb cake, and the darker brown. I really tried to keep it just to those colors. I didn't want to incorporate anything else. So I'm absolutely obsessed with this card. I love it. So to jump into what we're going to need to make this card, we're going to be using two different ink pads today. We have chocolate chip and real red. And along with that, I am going to be using the real red Stampin' Right marker, and I'll show you guys why when we get to that step. But it is completely optional. You don't have to use the marker, but you will need the ink pad for the little bows. Or you could not use the ink pad and just use your marker to do the little bows. So it's completely up to you. You figure out what's going to work best for you. Like I said, we're going to be using the cookie cutter Christmas set. So we're going to use the stamp set itself, and then we're also going to use the coordinating punch. Now this is a bundle in the new holiday catalog, and if you haven't already gotten your catalog or haven't requested one, please go over to my website and drop me a message and I'll get one sent right out to you. So we're going to be using those. Again, this is a bundle in the catalog, so you can get these two together and save 10%, which is awesome. We are also going to be using the linen thread, which I really like. I actually just stockpiled on this because I thought I was going to need more than I actually did. So I have a ton of these, so I'm going to be using this a lot coming up. And then for our paper, we're going to be using 4 different sheets of paper. So we have this piece, which is our in real red, and it's cut at 5 inches by 3 3/4. We then have a piece of the Candy Cane Lane Designer Series paper, and this is cut at 5 1/4 by 4 inches. We have this little piece of crumb cake, and this is cut at 1 inch by 5 inches. We have our larger piece of crumb cake, which is cut at 8 1/2 by 5 1/2 for our card base. And then we have 2 scraps. We have this scrap of crumb cake. This is what we're going to be using to cut out our gingerbread men on here. So I think I did this one at like 2 3/4 by like 7 inches or something like that. Really just a scrap. You could do 3 different pieces. I just happened to have this laying around, so I cut it down a little bit, and I'm going to be using that. But just enough crumb cake to be able to cut out 3 of our little gingerbread figures. And then you really just need a tiny piece of Whisper White to do our bows. Again, I just happen to have this as a scrap. So let's go ahead and jump into today's project. Okay, so to get started, we're going to be using our chocolate chip ink, and I have our little reindeer mounted up on a acrylic block, and I have my scrap piece of crumb cake. So what we're going to be doing is stamping the reindeer just plain brown twice, and then we're going to do once with a little red nose. One thing that I wanted to mention when you're doing this is to be cautious of how you are placing your stamps. What we're going to do is actually stamp our little reindeer upside down, because as you can see, this is the orientation of the punch, and you want to make sure that we can do it. This piece of paper is probably skinny enough where I could do it either way and just flip the paper around, but I wanted to show you guys that you may need to be conscious of that when you're stamping. So I'm going to take this little guy, flip him upside down, and just do it once right there, and a second time right there, and then this third time, this is where I'm going to bring in my Stampin' Right marker, and I also have, oops, not that, I have a wet baby wipe. So I'm going to go ahead and ink it up just like I did with the previous 2, and I'm going to flip it over before I stamp it, and I'm just going to take my baby wipe and wipe away the nose part. So we have a nice, clean, inked nose. And I'm going to take my chocolate chip ink and slide it out of the way. I'm going to take my Stampin' Right marker and color his little nose. I guess we're putting bows on these, so they're actually she's, not he's. And then one thing that you want to do is just give your stamp a big huff or a big puff of air to really make sure that the ink is nice and juicy, especially with the Stampin' Right markers. You want to make sure you do that anytime you use these to ink something up to stamp. So, and then go ahead and stamp it down. See, and now we have one that is a little like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. I did miss a spot right there, so what I'm going to do, I ran over to my little area where I have all my Stampin' Right markers, and I'm just going to take my chocolate chip marker and just fill that little space in. If I would have made a bigger boo-boo, I probably just would have restamped it, but since it wasn't that big of a deal, I'm just going to leave that. Now what I'm going to do is take our little reindeer and line them up in our punch and punch these little guys out. So we have 1, 2, I can't line up a punch and talk at the same time because it takes all of my concentration. And 3. So you can keep this, toss it, it's totally up to you. You do get all of these little extra bits when you punch these guys out. Okay, sorry about that. My camera ran out of memory, so I had to change the memory card. As I was saying, you're going to get your little reindeer, but you're also going to get all of these little extra bits. I just toss them, to be completely honest. I've never found anything that they would be good to save to use as, so that's kind of what I do, but you can obviously do with them whatever you want. I'm going to take our little reindeer and set those off to the side. While we still have our punch out, I'm going to use our piece of Whisper White and our Real Red ink, and I'm going to take this little tiny bow. Now there are 2 bows in the stamp set. I can show you on here. There's this one and then this more open one. I'm using the closed off one for this project. And I'm just going to take the little bows and I'm going to stamp them. I'm going to stamp 3 of them and I'm going to space them out pretty far just because you want to leave yourself enough room with the punch. And then we're going to grab our punch one more time, and you want to start from the left side and work your way to the right because that's how you're going to not mess up any of your other little pieces. And one more. Wow, I did the other 2 with no problems, and then this one I can't seem to line up. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to take my little bows, just like that, and I'm going to flip them over. I'm going to grab my snail adhesive, and I'm just going to put a little bit on each of these, just to have a little bit of adhesive on them. Actually, you know what? I lied. I think I'm going to use my multi-purpose glue, my liquid glue, just because they are smaller pieces, and it's a little bit harder to use snail on them. So I just put a little dab on each, and then I'm going to take my little reindeer. And whoops, I don't want it on her ear. There. That's sweet. Okay. And the next one. And the last one. Just like that. So now we have our sweet little reindeer. Now if you didn't want to put the bows on it, obviously don't put the bows on. I just think they're super cute, and I'm probably going to give this card to a few of my friends when we get closer to the holiday season. So I think it's very fitting that they have little bows on them. But that's just me. Okay, set those off to the side. Now our last little stamping bit that we're going to do is take our crumb cake And this is our skinny piece. Again, this is cut out 1 inch by 5 inches. We're going to take our chocolate chip ink one more time. And I'm using this little sentiment that says, wishing you a season as sweet and joyful as the friendship we share. So I'm going to ink that up in my chocolate chip ink, and then I'm going to stamp it to the right hand side and just center it on this little piece as best as I can. Just like so. And now we just need to put the card together. So first thing I'm going to do, since I have this piece here already, I'm going to take it, flip it over, put some snail on the back, and I'm going to adhere it down to our red piece. I'm leaving a little tiny strip at the bottom to just kind of have as a little accent. Then I'm going to grab my linen thread here, and I'm going to be using washi tape again. I really need to get a new like Scotch tape dispenser, but I haven't still, so I'm just using some washi tape because I have it handy. So for this, I'm going to flip this over and tape down one end of my thread, and then I'm just going to go kind of crazy a few times. For this, I don't really have an exact pattern that I'm doing. I just want to kind of get the thread all over behind where our little reindeer are going to go. So I did it, it was like 5 or 6 times. It's really up to you how many times you want to do it. Tape down the end and then snip that off. And we have this pretty little piece. I did that a little tight, so it's kind of warping a little bit, but when we put that down with dimensionals, you really won't notice it. So one other thing that I wanted to mention, for this one, I used one of our little, what are these called? One of our little mini jingle bells. I used one of the red ones, and I put it on the middle reindeer's nose, red nose, and I don't know if you can hear that, but it actually jingles. So I have that on there. It stays on there pretty well. I just adhered it down with a glue dot and then some of the liquid glue just to enforce it a little bit. I'm not going to do that on this one just because I wanted to see what it looked like without it. But you could definitely do that if you wanted to. It's super easy. You just have to let it sit and dry for a minute. Once it's dry, then you're good. I don't want to do those yet now that, and now my computer's going off. I am so sorry, guys. So I'm going to take our little red piece here that we just put all of our linen thread on, and I'm going to grab some dimensionals and stick this bad boy down. Now I'm going pretty heavy on my dimensionals, one because I did pull it a little too tight, so it's kind of warping a little bit, but also because you do have we are going to be putting 3 pieces, our 3 cutout pieces on top of this, and now my phone's ringing. Sorry, guys. Anyways, we are putting our 3 pieces on top of this, so I just want it to really be secure. I'm just being overly cautious. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to center it up on our piece of Designer Series paper, if I can. Just like, whoops, that's a little crooked. Just like that. Now I'm going to bring in our little reindeer. I'm going to do the little one, the Rudolph-esque one that has a little red nose. I'm going to do that one in the center. And I'm going to just flip all of them over and do them all at the same time. So I'm taking one full dimensional and putting it right where the head of the gingerbread is, or the nose of our little guy. And then I'm taking the scrap that I have with just the edges of the dimensionals. And I actually have another one. And I'm going to be using this to cut some strips for our little legs. So you need 6 strips. And one for each little gingerbread leg, just like so. Oh, and then I have the other 2 on here. I like the 2 longer ends on your dimensional strips. The dimensionals are a little bit thinner, so that's why I'm using that. Okay, then I'm going to take the dimensionals off of all of these. Whoops. And then we'll put our little reindeer on our card, and then we just have to adhere it to the card base and then we'll be done. So I'm going to take this little girl, I keep calling it a guy, but it's definitely a girl, and I'm going to put her right in the middle, and then I'm going to take my other two, and I'm just going to kind of not catty corner, I'm going to twist them just slightly so that they are right next to her, but they're a little crooked, so that it just gives it a little bit of interest. We're then going to take our card base, and where did my bone folder go? Take our card base and fold this in half. Whoops. Fold this in half, just like that. I'm going to take my snail again and flip this piece over, put some adhesive on the back, and just stick it down to our card base. And that's that. So, again, if you wanted to do the little jingle bell, you definitely could, but you don't have to. I love it just like this, just plain just like that. So I hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you have any other projects that you see online or see from the catalog, have any other ideas with this set or any other set from the annual catalog, the holiday catalog, please feel free to leave a comment, leave a message on my website, email me, whatever. I really want to make the content and the videos that you guys want to see and the projects that you guys want to see. So what I'm doing really does do something for you and you're not just watching a random video. So definitely let me know if you have any other suggestions on what you want to see. I also wanted to tell you guys, I think I mentioned it in one of my last videos, that from now through the end of September, I am posting all of my videos 2 hours early on Facebook, 2 hours before they go live on YouTube. So if you go over to my Facebook page, like the page, and check that out, you'll get to see all of my videos before they go live on YouTube. So you get an exclusive little sneak peek to all of them, which I think is super fun. And people have been really liking it. So I've gotten a good little response from that. So go check that out. Again, if you need a holiday catalog, please let me know. I still have a few hanging out that I am ready to send out. So anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this project and I will talk to you guys later. Bye.